I want to see if I can complete World of Warcraft Season of Discovery in only 72 hours. But in order to get started, I need to introduce you to our hero, Antijax. He was just a human priest, living peacefully with his family, before the Scarlet Crusade came and brutally murdered him. Then he wakes in undeath, confused and dazed. He's told of how the Crusade took his life, but there is a way to get back to the realm of the living. As his body is rotting away, he's got to do this as fast as he can. 72 hours to be exact. The 3 tasks laid out before him are to get to the max level of 60, obtain an epic horse, and take down one of the Scarlet Enclave leaders living in the raid. Do these, and there may be a chance, and just like that, the race begins. Now I'm playing as a priest, and I've never really played one of these in the classic type of game. In the original version, I heard it's basically just a wand simulator. However, as we are on Season of Discovery, and that means a lot of new abilities we get to play with. We also have a massive XP buff and a gold buff called Discovery's Delight. So while this does increase our leveling up speed, it's still classic WoW style leveling. And the first task for Dark Antijax, yep, it's an original name I know, is to obtain some money. By smiting down the undead that have gone rabid and slaying them, looting some items off their bodies and finishing off the quest, we've got enough money to visit the Rune Broker. In Season of Discovery you have things called runes that give you brand new abilities. In the last phase you can obtain every single rune right from the get-go, giving you plenty of abilities to mess around with as you level. The only issue being that runes are attached to your gear, so you need to obtain more gear to use them. As a Shadow Priest, I have 3 little mini versions of me that guard me like I'm their king. We also get a Mind Spike, and the earlier levels will just be about me messing around with my runes, figuring out what I like and what I don't. I mean, some of these abilities just look cool in general, like dropping a freaking pulsing void zone on the floor. Good job, Blizzard, I'm impressed. Approaching the 30-minute in mark already and we're level 7, so we're flying. We have our first face-to-face meeting with the Scarlet Covenant mongrels. With all of my undead powers and shadowy abilities, they are no match for me as I'm tasked with purging them from death knell and obtaining 12 armbands to prove of my deed. But right now, I'm really overpowered. I can take on all of them, and I get a nice early reward for doing so. A small brown pouch, giving me the extra storage you definitely need. After turning this in, they tasked me with going back and slaying their leader, Mevern Korgal. He's probably keeping tags on me since I've turned undead and all, and he doesn't even put up much of a fight, as I put him back into the dirt. And with them quests completed, we leave the starting zone of Death Knell close to level 8, with a bag and runes, and we're ready to continue on our journey. As we travel to the next town and expand further on our abilities thanks to looting more items, we accept some quests from the undead that are protecting the land. Even though the quests are green to me, I still enjoy doing them, and I start to get a feel for the zone in the area. So I start gathering gloomweed and I head to the town of Brill. There's a lot of graves here where all of our fallen comrades must be too. It's a good time to sell some items and accept some more tasks from the people that reside here. And also we get to learn some class abilities. I didn't realise that the inn inside here also has this eerie sort of music. Nice touch. Right now, even with the extra gold income from my buff, after training some abilities, I'm still really poor. Honestly, things never change. In the basement, I see that the Forsaken have captured a Scarlet Zealot, so I poison him with a pumpkin and watch him become just like me, but worse. Revenge. I wish I did it to the dwarf though, I hate dwarfs. Then something kind of crazy happens. Now, I need someone who's an expert on this to tell me please. As I ventured out into the woods, I came across a rare mob. Rare mobs are identified by the silver dragon around their portrait, and they usually have better loot. This one is called a Lost Soul. After looting a wispy cloak from her and adding it onto my rune, I turn around to see another Lost Soul. There's more than one rare mob up at the same time, the same mob. I am very confused. So I naturally kill her too, and she drops the exact same cloak. So either I've just witnessed something incredibly rare, or it's actually quite common and they're probably linked. Please let me know. So we finally hit the 1 hour mark in, and we're level 10 now, so we're already making fantastic progress. At level 10 you can choose a specialisation between Shadow, Holy and Discipline, and obviously I'm going for a Shadow Priest. It's not our fault we've been condemned to the dark arts, but this is where things sort of slow down for me. I'd say hitting level 10 in an hour is pretty bloody quick. I'm already in a dungeon group for Ragefire Chasm, but I'm in Undercity and they're already starting. I grab a quest for the dungeon and I decide I won't make it with these guys in time and leave them. That's the goal for now. First I do learn a profession, skinning, but then it's time I teach you all a tactic to make really good gold in SOD or Classic WoW. This tactic is as old as the game itself. First I had to take the Zeppelin to a brand new land and I got to experience what it's like inside of a Tauren, lovely. And then that tactic, you have to have absolutely, positively, and utterly no morals to do it. Yeah, it's begging. Well, I mean, it's not begging to be exact. I do this all the time on fresh characters if I've got no gold. Now obviously you can do professions and other things, but this worked. So as I enter the wonderful city of Orgrimmar, where it's heaving with people, the first thing I do is yell out asking for some money. Gotta shoot your shot. And thanks to how welcoming and kind some people are, I'm hit with a trade with 5 gold, 55 silver and 55 copper. Then immediately get another trade of 5 gold, as well as a party invite at the same time, where the person then trades me 12 gold. Making a total of 23 gold at level 11 without doing absolutely anything. I just wanted to showcase that people are super kind. Not everyone is, but people are usually willing to help out, myself included. With gold in the bag, I decided to spend some of it on increasing my storage instantly to help out with my inventory for when I'm questing. I also use mage services to travel around the world pretty fast. I offer them 50 silver, but they do it for free seeing that I'm a low level, which is super kind of them. This takes us to Thunderbluff, one of my favourite horde cities, and I'm here to get the flight paths and quests for our first dungeon. After 2.5 hours now, we're finally near the end of the Ragefire Chasm. We've got a couple of levels, but not really any loot. My damage seems okay, with my AoE damage being really strong, and Shadow Priest is becoming fun to play now. We've also got a completed full quest log, and with a couple of attacks, we bring down the last boss, Bazilan. We continue on our adventure. With 3 hours then done, quests being turned in, I go and speak to the priest trainer. One of the only downsides to leveling so quick is keeping up with your abilities, and I learn Touching a Weakness, an undead only priest ability. And as I'm then venturing around Undercity, I see guards fighting skeletons that are neutral to me but on fire. I don't know what the hell is going on, if this is just a sod only thing, but it's always pretty cool to see. Now being level 15, I'm close to being able to do another dungeon. I have to quest though for a little bit. Also around Azeroth are bug invasions due to the Arn-Karaj raid. Don't know if I said that right. The good thing is the bugs here give a shit ton of XP, like 600 per kill, which is incredible. So we ding quite fast. And while I start to take out a few more of them for some faster experience, as I don't believe they do respawn, a hunter comes up to me who's also killing mobs in the area, opens up the trade window and trades me some items. He must have got them off his kills. One of them being a blue ring, which will certainly come in handy. So I thank him before I am then killed by a Thunderhawk. For my first death, yeah, even if I have more abilities, you can still die quite easy in WoW. But then actually death becomes a good thing. It's great to see every zone populated with players as I'm running around the world. I then see an AFK rogue dying to a Quillboar, so I whisper him hoping it'll spring him into action, but he dies. Poor dude. Then, so do I. To a lot of hungry hyenas. I mean, I am just bones, there is no meat on me. But by dying further north, it allows me to take resurrection sickness and instantly be at the crossroads. The whole plan now is to get quests for the Wailing Caverns, so I've got to do some shenanigans first. I also encounter my first alliance players at Ratchet, and I notice that a warrior is AFK. He's a school level to me, but if I can take him down, that would be a great start to my journey. Well, that's how I thought it might go. As this night elf slowly leaves me alone, then does one of my worst 360s, comes back around and one-shots me in the back.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Then when I'm just going about my business, I'm mind-controlled by something and I'm freaking out. What's happening? As I'm pulled straight towards a stone. And then I get smashed with a debuff too, fantastic. A short while later, I start forming my own group for our dungeon, the Wailing Caverns. I encounter a healer who says they've not played WoW in 10 years, so it's cool to see some old veterans coming back to the game. One of the scariest jumps I have to make is on this cliff, as you need to get to the Night Elf for a quest, and I always nearly overshoot this every single time. Heart-stopping stuff, I tell you. Now for someone on a timer, I can tell you that I don't have the best of luck trying to be fast earlier on. We have a warlock that we are waiting for to arrive. So 5 minutes go by and he's still not here. So some of our group go to find him. The warlock then dies and Alt F4s. Fantastic. Eventually we do fill a group and we get going.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Now I did collect the quest to get Deviant Hides, but it's awful and it's never worth doing. Because of how strong we are in SOD, I forget not how strong we are as well. And I run ahead pulling everything to AoE and I just die. It's my own fault for pulling for the tank. Lesson learned. As we approach the end of the dungeon, I dinged level 16 and then an agility cape drops too. And I accidentally pressed need. It was a misclick and I'm sat praying I don't win it as 2 other people do need it and I do win it. But I guess 2 spirit is 2 spirit, right? Anyhow. We cleared the whole place and I hit level 20, close to nearly the 6 hour mark now, and it's took me 1 hour to hit level 10, then 5 more hours for 20. But now we are flying. We get a nice staff from the quest rewards too, and some intellect shoulders as well. So gear is also coming along pretty cool. My main goal is to try and hit level 25 so we can do that level up raid. So that's what we need to get working towards, but I just get sidetracked so easy by random stuff all the time. like this drunken tauren who definitely reminded me of myself. A few hours later and a couple of levels later and I'm farming Shadowfang Keep. Damage is starting to really ramp up with the levels now and we've got a fantastic spell cleave group going. And a hunter tank, which is something I've never heard of before, but he actually does a pretty good job. But we don't seem to have much of an issue defeating things at all. In fact, I farmed this dungeon plenty of times, even put me to level 23, and it's only for this boss. A boss that's only up during Nax called Sever. He drops 2 items, one being some insanely good cloth spellcaster pants, but I've only ever seen this axe drop over and over. And with 3 other casters, what chance do I have to actually win them? The legs then do drop, and people start pressing need, and I win them with a 28 roll. This gives us some epic legs with 18 spell damage and they are insanely strong and well worth getting. Being so close to our first raid at level 25 and now being in a bit of a slump on what to do, I head to the cozy zone of Hillsbrad Foothills and Tarren Mill to do a few quests. I've also joined a leveling guild too, and there's plenty of people online talking and chatting and I'm enjoying leveling once again. Yet again, I pay attention to the more subtle things in WoW, and I notice these human coffins, things that I just usually run straight past. It's pretty cool. The task to do in this area was to purge the wildlife and obtain their tongues and spider venom. Then we need to go to Durnhold Keep where the Syndicate have took over. Now I once again get super cocky with how many I can take on, and a single fear can spell trouble for me as it pulls more mobs. And with spell pushback, I'm just so screwed. And I die again. And honestly, death was just everywhere for me. The Alliance and the Horde meet in zones like this, and while I'm only level 24, disgusting dwarves come for me all the time. This dwarf has 10 levels on me and still decides to attack me. In fact, I'm not even sure if it's a bot, but I do try my best to survive and take down the hunter, and I do a pretty good job. At least bringing her close to half, but with a bear on me too, I just get mauled to death. On my respawn, I notice yet another dwarf hunter with a bow, so I'm keeping my wits about me, and now I'm starting to get pretty nervous questing. Also, I am very close to level 25, and this means we can raid and do a level up raid, and try and get some gear too. Then I have a look and see that there's actually one going right now, which is always lovely to see. I do join them and get an invite as we level up to 25, ready to do the Blackfathom Deeps, but then something happens in my actual real life and I don't have enough time to do this currently. So a few hours later, I'm ready to go once more. With me missing out on the last raid, my friend Leofa offered to come and help a few low levels out. As we then head to the raid, a Night Elf hunter just decides to start war.
I started blasting. Bang!
In fact, Leofa kills them, but they decide to hunt me at the back of the pack like an ill gazelle. She just won't leave me alone. 10 hours into the challenge now, we're in our first raid. It's pretty easy with level 60 honestly, but I'm here just for the loot. A couple of bosses in and honestly nothing to talk about until the big Murloc. It's always a fun fight as you've got to dance and dodge all the baby Murlocs while their leader regenerates. Getting hit by these in most circumstances means death, which means no XP. And these bosses give a lot of them when you kill them. Just watch my bar go up. This boss then drops a trinket, the black Murloc egg, that I've got no idea what it does. So I summon it, and it summons a little tiny Murloc that gives you 5 shadow resistance. So it's more of a vanity trinket than anything. Pretty cool though. On Twilight Lord Kelris, yep, that's me. You might be wondering how I'm dead. Well, it's because somebody ninja pulled the boss and I didn't heal myself and died. So I'm losing that sweet XP. But we do kill the boss and I get some really cool spellcaster gloves. Then we take on the final boss, the big bad Hydra, a Kumai. He's an easy fight for us, you just don't stand in front of him or you get eaten. When we kill him I level up to 27 and I get a really cool dagger with spell power on it and a quest item. In fact, the main thing I'm happy about is this, the Dagger of Willing Sacrifice. It's a beautiful upgrade. Then in Thunderbluff we can speak to Bishana and hand it in to obtain a trinket, giving us a massive spell power buff of 11. Then we can start flying through the quest now. Fast forward a little while later and I'm in Scarlet Monastery Graveyard. There's only one reason I'm here and that's more epic loot. And sweet XP of course. I always join groups where there's mostly casters because I'm super clever like that and I love having competition, but I have a good time playing anyways. The last boss, Scorn, is what I need and he's level 34 so he's red to me and I can barely damage him, and honestly I'm actually a bit of a detriment to my group right now, but I'm trying my best. All I want is a caster neck, and of course it doesn't drop. In fact, I would even get some help off Leofa to speedrun this place to try and get the necklace, but even then, it just wouldn't drop. This necklace did not exist, I'm telling you. And while the XP was sorta nice, I quickly hit the instant lockout and would have to do something else. I spent such a long time farming this place with different groups and different people that I was just being really stubborn and refusing to do anything else until I got the item. After all, epics are epics. I'm even level 30 now and opting to be a bloody healer, something that Dark Antijax didn't think he would ever do, but I was desperate, and if a group needed a healer, I would do that. And by doing this task, as the clock strikes 13 hours, Scorn finally drops my epic necklace. I call the people my lucky charm as I win it, getting our last item slot, and a huge piece of gear that honestly will last me a long time. And as I finally leave that place behind me, I check my mail, and I see Blizzard have banned a bot. And I also see a human priest sleeping in the middle of the town, so yeah, that's something. I'm back in town now, having to do some character maintenance, as I like to call it, but my pet Murloc from my toy decides to just stop and start singing and dancing on the bridge. No survival instincts, honestly. One thing I have been neglecting to do is learn my spells. Well, being in a dungeon for many levels certainly doesn't give me the opportunity to learn them, and all the gold I have given to me has practically disappeared before my eyes as I learn every spell. Ouch. Then the next morning I awake to a surprise. Everything I've had in my bags I've just thrown on the auction house, and I suggest you do the same, as in sod, things that you think are junk are worth a lot of money to someone. And as I collect my gold, my total goes up to a massive 69 gold and 99 silver. Wow, I have made enough money for a freaking mount already. And I needed that after the heavy hit I took. So as long as I'm sensible, I should be good to go. Hour 14 was just me questing in the Shimmering Flats and testing my PvP skills against Paladin. I noticed that even though my gear is good, my damage is feeling ass, and that's because I'm making a grave error that will take me a long time to realise. I wonder if you can guess. But even then, I wave goodbye to Paladin as I wand him to his death. If it's red, it's dead. Now I do want to show you a gift I got from Leotha. They came across a super rare item while questing, and as I'm on the perfect class for it, they gave me it as a gift. I open it to get none other than the Underworld Band. I'm too low level to use it right now, but 14 shadow spell damage is fantastic. I usually don't accept too much help, but this was just fate. How can I say no to that item? We went and blasted another Blackfathom Deeps raid as it resets every 3 days, and I got pretty stacked in this run, getting a chest piece with spell power on, and then as we approach Kelris, I get a spell power ring too, but not actually dying this time, so I get a lot of XP in the process. Hour 19 now and approaching that 20 mark, and it was back to Ogrimer to sell off my goods and keep on top of my bags and materials, because this is how I make my gold. Just sell absolutely everything I come across, as long as I don't need it. Then it was time to hit up the jungle. Blood Moon is active, which is a PvP event here in Stranglethorn Vale. It means you can attack other players of your faction, which I tried to do, but thanks to no movement speed, the rogue just walks off without a care in the world. And for the amount of gear I've been getting, my damage doesn't feel that amazing still, and I still couldn't figure out why. I then killed Blackfathom pretty easily, but something just wasn't quite right with me. While questing in the jungle, I once again have some mail. I did tell you to sell everything, and watch this. Things like tiger meat and raptor eggs sell for a fortune, giving me over 100 gold.
Hello, I like money.
I've got no clue why these materials are so expensive, but I ain't gonna complain. This means after hitting that sweet level 40, after 22 hours of game time, I can go all the way back to the starting town of Brill and purchase horse riding. Then we can purchase an undead horse for 40 gold. And also, I've unlocked shadow form, so now I'm a shadow undead on a shadow horse with a shadow murloc. The journey is truly underway. The next few hours I spend just doing Scarlet Monastery and obtaining some more gear and XP. In fact, with this gear in AoE, I started to become like a god. Just look at these numbers, it's incredible. I got so confident that I said for us to go to the boss, and the druid says,
"We die."
So we kill one side, and I'm like, okay, we can go for the boss now, surely, as whatever NPCs you don't kill will come to his rescue. So we pull the boss and I type, we are in big trouble. It's too many, and I instantly rip aggro and get killed, and it's not long before the rest of the group die too. Yeah, my bad guys, my bad. As the hour finally hits 24, meaning we are now 1 day in, out of our total of 3 days, we're still questing in the jungle. So we've made solid progress being level 41, but we've got to speed it up to get to that endgame. One way to do that is to join a Gnomeregan raid. Now a lot of max levels run this to obtain this mount. It's a gnome mount that can be used on any faction or race, so we get a super geared boomy who comes to carry all of our low levels in return for getting dibs on the mount, so it's a very fair trade. Now I don't want to showcase you every single boss mechanic in here, I just want to focus on mainly the loot that I'm getting leveling up. But this boss I've always got to talk to you about. It's called the Crowd Pummeler. He does a knockback if you're stood in front of him, and we always tell people don't stand in front of him. So obviously,
I believe I can fly.
Yeah, 2 people fall to their deaths. Then we kill the last boss with no issues and he drops a really nice helmet, and I roll a massive 91, meaning I win it. Perfect. I also won 2 tokens for tier gear that you can purchase here in the raid. So this just means we are powering up and up and we're getting pretty stacked. but I do have to lose my epic legs doing so, but at least our cat makes us look cool. Another feature in Season of Discovery is incursions. Now this is a place where you can obtain a crap ton of quests, nearly a whole quest log's worth. You take a portal and then you complete them for a massive amount of experience. Now so far I've done 2 out of 3 of the level up raids as well, and I wanted to see if I could experience all of the content still. And yeah, I could really. It took me no time at all to team up with some fellow members to get these things done. In fact, there's people at all parts of this, from Alliance to Horde, so there's a lot of PvP to be had if you're into that sort of thing. And when you turn in the quests you complete, well, you can just watch for yourself. It's just chunk after chunk of experience, with money to obviously be made there too. One thing I was noticing about my priests is I sucked at dealing damage. Like genuinely I couldn't kill anyone in PvP at all. And if I could, they had to have NPCs on them too. Because I'm making that big mistake. And that mistake was not putting the right rank of spells on my bar. In Classic WoW, spells have different ranks, with the higher ranks dealing more damage. So I went most of this leveling experience without changing too many ranks on my bars, because yeah, I'm a pro obviously. One of the best things about being a priest is the ability to mind control, allowing you to take control of a humanoid creature or another player. Yeah, you can do that. So I tell people I'm going to throw Kraz off the boat, going from Ratchet to Beauty Bay because, well, he's a gnome, and they are disgusting creatures. Now I did have my chance earlier on, but I was speaking to the low levels and they wanted me to do it too. They was watching like it was some sort of show. Kraz then realised what's about to happen to him and makes a break for it running off. I go for the fear to mind control him, but he gets feared out of my range. So I start hunting the little pest down, trying to get off the mind control. However, the hunter and rogue who are low levels are having none of this and just start mercilessly killing him themselves. Poor Kraz. However, when we cross over continents, he does revive, but my fear sends him to the back of the boat once more. He knows I'm going to try and throw him off the boat, so he does everything he can to evade capture. In the end, I opt to kill him instead. He bested me this time, and he even has the audacity to start dancing with one of the low levels body that got killed. What a guy. I also need to introduce you to a rogue called Lad Rogue and a rogue called Tinkerblade. Now I killed these guys once before, but they teamed up for revenge. Now they are a lower level than me, so if I do get dots on them, they are practically screwed. So I kill them both and then I eat them. Yeah, as an undead I can eat my enemies, pretty cool right? And this was an ongoing war we had while leveling. There's a reason I'm telling you about these two little shit rogues. I left them alone and I moved on over to the Wild Shore to take out the captains on the boats and ruin the Bloodsails operations. Now I'm pretty far out right now, so I'm not expecting any company until my spy add-on goes off as I'm taking down the captain, and I keep a close eye on the door as well as we level up to level 50 and I see there's 2 paladins, both max level, looking and targeting me. Shit. So I hit that log out button, trying to escape, and I sit there and I can see them looking around the boat for me. And as the countdown gets to them final seconds, he finds me and kills me. I was 1 second away from escaping these guys and logging out. It would have been a pretty bad thing for me to do, but it would have been funny as well. So now I'm 32 hours into the challenge, thanks to me spending quite a bit of time searching for a Sunken Temple raid. It's the last of the level up ones. We are level 50 with only 10 levels to go, but also time is running down. While I leveled, I wasn't really optimal at all. I'd regularly go AFK while logged in, PvP, and just do random things because I wanted it to be as consistent with how other people play as I could. Back to the raid, and this raid's got some really good loot. And with Will buffs given to people that these things are up here, it's an absolute breeze, at least the earlier bosses. But one thing I'm here for is the XP. Just like Blackfathom Deeps and Gnomeregan, when you kill a boss, you just get a crap ton. These raids also have tier tokens and they drop a lot more epics. And the raid kicks off to a fantastic start as I instantly win a tier token and can just turn it in straight away, as I'm right by the vendor. This gives us really powerful gear. Jamal the Prophet and Ogrom are 2 of the troll lords in this raid. They're best friends sat ruling over the trolls together, so why do they eat one another when we take down one? Trolls, never trust a troll. Boss fights are super easy and we've got incredibly geared 60s here, but the loot is just fantastic. Epic spellcaster cloth, epic spellcaster neck. I want, I need, but my rolling has gone poor and I don't win any items. I do actually win another tier token though off the Shade of Arachnis before we move to the last boss of the raid, Hakar. Now Hakar does have some sort of tactics. He spreads a plague, so we make a healthy corner and a sick corner. And ranged are supposed to just be stood on me, but they decide not to stand where they should and just stand where they all like, stacked up. So when the blood comes out and starts infecting people, people panic. In order to remove this too, the tank should aim the boss at the sick people so he breathes on you and cleanses you. But this doesn't happen either, and people start to drop like flies. But we do stabilise. and all you need is a few people to really bring down this boss. The boss dies and we win a very good Shadow Priest staff too, and the quest item from the boss as well, and a tier token. Yeah, I got pretty stacked. 3 pieces of tier, this weapon, and this ring. There's only one thing to do, and that's jump to my death now so I can turn it all in. However, Blizzard now scammed me. As I go to buy my other 2 tier pieces to get the free set, I realise I bought the wrong pants. Someone decided to put the 2 DPS items with 1 healer item and the 2 healer items with 1 DPS items. Fantastic. I mean, I guess it's my fault for not reading what you buy, but you do get screwed over, so no free set for me, but I'm not complaining. All that left for us to do is start pushing towards level 60 now as I head to the Hinterlands and Jimfan Allure, where there is an abundance of quests and I spent a few hours completing them. We then had to basically do troll genocide by wiping out their entire species, killing 20 of each different troll. It was a long slog, but teaming up with guildies made it a lot more quicker and funner. I then decided to start doing some more dungeon runs, something called coin runs. This attracts high levels to come to the lower level dungeons and run them with you. Once again, I'm stuck friggin' healing just to fill groups as fast as I can. And the reason they're called coin runs is because in the higher level dungeons, item called the Undermine Reels drop, allowing you to purchase powerful armor at level 60. But more on that when we are 60. I get to level 55 too, and we're really pushing it. Luckily, because I hit 55 here, my group gave me a bit of time to pop to this NPC and get myself an achievement for Molten Core. This is to allow me to enter a raid when I hit that max level, so it's good to get it done now. The Warlock also takes us on some weird parkour mission. Yeah, I don't know what we're doing, I've never been this way before. But as I jump to my seemingly death, a common thing in this run, I survive and there is a dwarf chilling down here. The shaman doesn't make the jump and he dies in lava, so poor him. But we do speak to him to turn in a quest and obtain 3 items. A toy rainbow, a shirt and some rested XP on demand. I love these little things on Season of Discovery. So I then cleared BRD quite fine and headed over to Scholomance at level 57. I'm healing, once again, however these guys are level 60, and I have resurrection sickness currently, so I cannot heal as much as they are pulling. So I wipe us of course, but as res sickness falls off and we get plenty more 60s in, we're doing a bit better. Although healing is shadow, I go out of mana so fast, it's unbelievable. But we are killing bosses and getting loot. Now the undead bosses drop Remnants of Valor, an account bound currency that we will need at 60, so I'll come back to that too. But the trick now when you're 55 plus in SOD is to just dungeon grind, farm out coins and end level gear. I then decided to try and do an invasion. Invasions are what you need to farm out them Remnants of Valor. I made a group and we were going as 5 people, which should be enough. Rolling Dice says to invite more people before Crytek asks why do you need more people. Rolling Dice then says because it's easier before Crytek says it's easy already. Just AoE and heal me. So the Warlock runs in, overpulls and dies practically immediately, which causes us all to die. Before I say, yeah, we need more people. Turns out you can't even do these invasions or quests at level 60 anyway, so I've just wasted my time trying. As the clock is about to strike hour 40, I've just turned level 58 and I'm still in dungeons, UBRS this time, or Upper Blackrock Spire. Farming out coins and XP because it's just the best way to level and get yourself set up for when you are 60. It's quite a fast run, however Rend being a static like 10-minute encounter always gets to me. But that's it. We hit level 60 within 42 hours and are flying to our first raid. Do you think I'm taking it easy? No, we've got so much to do and I've just got to keep on going. So as I'm flying to the raid, let me give you an update on my character's gear as we're ready to try and do the end game content. As you can see, we've got 1 day, 18 hours and 41 minutes played and we're at the max level of 60. So here is the gear. Pretty good I must say. We picked up some Dreadmist gear leveling and some dungeon pieces too. I bought some boots off the auction house as well as some sanctified bracers, but more on sanctified soon. We have a plethora of epics and we're ready to smash this endgame journey. But with the clock constantly ticking down and really only 24 hours left, can I complete all the content in time? So the first raid I go into immediately after leveling up was Molten Core. It's a raid I got attuned to back in Blackrock Depths. This is an entry level raid, so people take you really no matter your gear. And the bosses drop 3 of them tarnished Undermine Reels, making it a great place to farm out coins, with the raid only taking around 40 minutes to complete in its full. We kill the last boss Ragnaros and our first raid is done really fast. I did get some tier pieces which definitely helps us, but it's nothing too much to shout home about just yet. I then went back to the invasion in the Plaguelands now to start up that farm immediately for the Remnants of Valor. By looting the Heart of Doom from shades that drop it, we can turn in these each time for a total of 300 and we need 3,150, so it's quite a bit of farming. But I'm also trying to get some cloth gear here too because it's sanctified. and we need a lot of sanctified gear for Naxxramas. And with the necrotic runes you get off killing the mobs, I can purchase some sanctified epic gloves too. As you can see, even early in the morning, there's plenty of raids going on, so I try my hand at getting into another one, and I just keep the goal of becoming a human in my mind. Our next raid is in Ashenville. Well, it's technically all over Azeroth. It's the Twilight Dragons, and they are loot pinatas and an excellent source of tier, and epics, if you're lucky of course. Mechanically, they're not really hard fights. That's if your tanks know what to do, which is quite obvious our tanks don't, as they ignore all instructions to move the dragons further into the tree, and the raid keeps getting breath. This means our abilities incur a massive cooldown, and it's stacked and causes people to die. The tanks eventually get the message after us spamming raid warnings in chat, and we kill one of the 4 dragons, with me being the only one that didn't get rezzed. Feels bad, man. We do go on to the last boss, Leafon, in here, and the tanks are doing some questionable things again, but it's all in good fun. Things like getting the ranged tail swipe to Narnia, etc. But then we bring the boss down and we get the loot. There's items here that can be turned into AQ tier, which is very powerful. And I roll on my soft reserve and someone rolls a 98 before I win the roll with a 99. Fantastic. This is a very strong item. Then comes out my other tier piece I've reserved. Someone rolls a 15, then a 28, then I roll a 15, losing it too. If I would have got that item as well, I would have been really happy. But we move on anyways. The guy that won the item got mind controlled and instantly killed by the rest of the raid anyway. After I travelled all the way to Antijax on a slow ass 60% mount, so it did take a while. I arrive at the vendor to exchange the item that I just won for tier, only to realise that I brought the wrong frickin' ingredients. I brought the items for the healing shoulder pads, not for the shadow. What am I like? I also finally finished off grinding out the remainder of my Remnants of Valor, and with the spare I had left over, you can purchase Argent Dawn Valor tokens, and for 5 of them, you can buy a shoulder enchant. Bear with me. The shoulder enchant grants you a very powerful effect. Some are even rotation changing, providing you with a very big damage or healing boost. I also go and buy some more gloves to match the rest of the set that I've looted from invasions, so now I have 3 sets of sanctified gear, but it is healing. A couple of hours later I was in the Anchorage Ruins run. Things went by pretty smoothly as we took on the last boss, Assyrian the Unscarring. Did I say that right? My damage with world buffs is pretty good. I'm starting to keep up with the top ones now. And thanks to the shoulder enchant, it's changed how my whole rotation feels, making my mind spike an instant cast, and I'm really having fun playing Shadow Priest. The boss dies and loot is rolled out, and I win myself a Karaji ring, before just losing out on the head, which would have gave me a pretty good necklace. Ring of the Desert wins, which I also win drops, and now we're going to have 2 powerful rings. So not a bad run at all. Then as the clock hits that 48-hour mark, we're into the final 24 hours to trying to get into that last raid of Season of Discovery. So in order to get to the Scarlet Enclave, we need to get into Naxxramas first. We really need to boost our gear. I need to be honoured with the Argent Dawn. And as I sort of only done this dungeon once or twice leveling, I had to come back and just clear through it. Once again, I opted to heal to get into a group immediately, just so I can farm out the reputation, hit 6,000 and get honoured. Straight after that, I tried to swear my way into a Naxxramas group without me even having the requirements yet, but I'm about to. By turning in a quest with 60 gold, 5 arcane crystals and 2 nexus crystals and a righteous orb, I can become attuned to Naxxramas. But when I went into the raid, the guy saw my gear and was like, yeah, no, and kicked me. Fair enough, you gotta try it though. Anyway, while I corpse run back from a rogue killing me outside the raid because my day can't get any better, let me explain to you why you need a Remnants of Valor. It's for this item called the Seal of Dawn. Having 3,150 Remnants of Valor lets you buy the max rank, which is 7. This gives you a HP and damage buff while inside Naxxramas for each sanctified piece of gear you've got equipped. So that's why you do your invasions and you get yourself them sanctified pieces. Hour 50 now, and I was in AQ 40 this time, really showcasing you that you can still do every single raid in the game, even with Season of Discovery having been out for a while now. You can always find people willing to run things for all sorts of different reasons, and we bring down Siphon with no problems. Loot wise, I get really unlucky. I had 3 rolls on an item called the Intact Entrails, and the highest I rolled was a 30, so I didn't win it. But I do roll on a very good cape called the Cape of the Trinity, and I roll a big 93 winning that, putting our gear score now up to 740, but nowhere near the 1000 plus required for Scarlet Enclave, until a staff is rolled out. A massive upgrade yet again for me at this point, and I win that too, taking our gear score up to a lovely 806 now, so I'm really going for it. With over 800 gear score now, I try my hand at getting into another Naxxramas, and this time I succeed. We're doing HM free or hard mode free. It's actually pretty easy despite its name. However, it does require you to have that seal at max and sanctified pieces. My damage is awful, as to be expected, but I'm just happy to be experiencing the raid and hopefully getting some loot. Once you do get into a Naxxramas, if you are lucky, you can find yourself immediately stacked with gear quite quickly, as I instantly win my tier 3 braces. Then as we approach the 54-hour mark, we're still rolling out loot before we take on the last boss, Kel'Thuzad, and I win myself the tier 3 shoulder pads as well, putting me now on 2 items. I then also managed to win myself a pair of tier 3 leggings, so I already have 3 pieces of tier 3. We then have the showdown with Kel'Thuzad, and our group has just a lot of pumpers and geared players, so we just melt the boss, only losing 2 people or so. And that is Nax completed as well. After turning in a quest called Echoes of War, you need to do this inside Naxxramas if you want to purchase your tier. It's just to kill the ads in there, so it's very easy to do. You can purchase tier 3. Would you be shocked if I told you I won more tier? Oh yes, I won the helmet, the shoulder pads, the legs, the wrist, the boots too, and the belt. Yeah, that's right. I won 6 pieces of tier 3 in my first Naxxramas raid, boosting our gear score up massively. I did get a healing weapon, but it's nothing to shout home about, as well as an offhand. Talk about a boost in gear, but the clock is still running down and I'm running out of time. So I now have over 500 gold, and I'm going to show you how I've been making my goal, trying to get that epic steed. So the coins I get when leveling up from raids, you spend at this vendor. Now I don't need any of the gear from this person, so I choose to buy these undermined supply crates instead. These can hold valuable items that sell for a lot of gold on the auction house. So every time I get any coins, I head here and I buy them and I list them on the auction house. And that's how we're going to afford our stuff. Then I get carried away mind controlling people into the water and off edges because it's just too much fun, honestly. The best thing about being a priest, in my opinion, is being able to control someone else's character and do stuff. With the raid lockout reset for most places now, I went back and did as much as I could to try and get as much gear as I could. I end up winning a priest trinket to replace my leveling ones, and while it being in fact worse, the gear score it gives me is just too big to ignore. And right now, that's all that matters, is making that number go up. And I still once again have to showcase how evil I am. Anyone AFK on these boats around me are not safe. I will wait until we are far out in the ocean and I will mind control you and I will throw you overboard. And for someone running down the clock, I did this far too often. A low level priest dancing thinking he was safe, little does he know I'm going to get him. A level 60 warrior targeting me knowing what's coming, well, he reacted too late, so enjoy the water, mate. But that low level gets the worst of it. He was hiding in a corner from me, and as I'm searching the boat trying to look for him, I do find him. And when I do, we are far, far out into the ocean, as I throw him overboard without even hesitating the second before we're about to swap continents. And that poor guy is a goner. I would just stay on this boat griefing everybody. Now a paladin did use his bubble to survive it, but the silly goose attacked me to run away. So the goblins did my work for me, shooting him into the water as I sit there laughing at his misfortune. It didn't stop there either. AFK players, I would mind control them underwater and make them drown. I truly started to embrace a shadow priest inside me. With also 875 gold now in my bags, but still not enough for an epic mount, I went back to the ruins of AQ, where it's a guaranteed mount drop if you do it on hard mode, which we did. Everybody wants to roll on this, so the chances of me winning it are really slim, but there's still a chance. The flawless red Karazhan mount drops and it's rolled out. Everyone rolls, but someone rolls 100. And I was the second highest with an 86. Damn, I was so close. Unlucky. But I do win something called a Karazhan hilt, which gives us this powerful weapon too. With over 900 gold now in my pockets, I purchased some cloth to turn into the Undercity vendor. This allows us to get honoured with Undercity and bring down the price of our epic steed. After once again heading back to Brill and purchasing an epic purple skeleton warhorse for 900 gold, leaving us utterly broke, but that's task 2 complete. And the only thing left for us to do was to get into that Scarlet Enclave and kill the boss. But my trinkets were still super bad, so I opted to go and do a quest chain to get a better one. It ended up with us having to do a strat home once more, but I didn't mind it. In fact, this quest chain reminded me of myself when I was struck down by the Scarlet Crusade, just like Leonid was in his family. Probably said that wrong, sorry. It was heartbreaking to see. I actually ended up winning some more items in this run that did less overall damage compared to mine, but the item level difference was just too big. So it just proves item level isn't everything. But what can I say? This puts me right on that 1000 gear score mark, and as we're approaching hour 60 now, we're running out of time. But by turning in this quest chain, we obtain a very powerful trinket, the Journal of the Revered, a huge DPS upgrade. This then puts us at a very healthy 1016 gear score with some solid pieces of gear. Oh yeah, Here is me throwing off a low level dwarf hunter in the water again. Never gets old. One of the last things I wanted to try and do before entering the raid was Karazhan Crypts, a new dungeon introduced in Season of Discovery. I really wanted to try and experience everything it had to offer in these 3 days, and I wanted to try and get as powerful as I could before trying to get into that last raid. Now this dungeon aesthetically is amazing. The lighting, the bosses, the mobs, the layout, the fact you need a candle to light up your way or you get consumed by darkness is just brilliant. There's also some great loot in here, and I get lucky by coming across a spectral signet, a ring that increases shadow damage by up to 43, so I'll definitely take that. Even though APH is griefing me on his druid trying to say it's a resto item before he drowns alone in the darkness. Guess that's what you get. We battle our way through the crypt killing boss after boss, and my favourite boss, the Harbinger, is sick. Even though I mess up and I get myself one shot, but I swear I wasn't in it. But my sacrifice is rewarded with another big weapon upgrade in the Shadow Weaver's Needle. It's the fastest need I can ever do from me and the fastest equipped, and we're getting really stacked. Not only that, after defeating Charon, he drops my best in slot wand. Yeah, best in slot. This run was fantastic for me and I'm glad I went and did it before going to the raid. Also in this dungeon, don't open the chests, trust me, they will eat you alive, as I found out. Now the finale, the only thing left to do, Scarlet Enclave. We're 61 hours into this adventure with just over 10 hours remaining. My gear still isn't the best, but I just apply for every single group I can with Leofa's ult. So this leader is just inviting everyone, not letting us know anything about the raid, so it's not looking good for us completing it at all. But I just need my revenge on the Scarlet Crusade, they must fall. The raid starts filling up with a massive amount of people. It looks like we're going to go in with a lot of players, and this is it. We enter into the Scarlet Enclave where our journey is meeting its end. Having joined a pug, I think, with about 36 players, we're ready for our first boss. I brought all my consumables I could with what little gold I had remained in after buying an epic mount. And now we take on our first boss, Balnazar, the demonic demon. Now I've done this raid once on my warrior that you'll see in my finale of my Zero to Hero series. But as arranged, I've got no clue of the tactics. I know you've got to kill ads, and my damage is actually pretty solid considering I'm not that optimized in gear. The boss then flies around in the sky, and the ranged have to just stand on these pools of light and bring him down. Sort of like a Nixia if you think of it like that. I was getting some weird weak aura telling me my stacks was high and I started to lose the plot a little bit. I don't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing, but Balnazar started to kill some of our raid as we're becoming overwhelmed with ads. It wasn't looking great, but we hit that last remaining percent and we killed our first boss. As the hour strikes 62 with 10 hours remaining of our challenge and one boss down, how far can we actually push this? How far into this raid can we get with a pug? Let's find out. Beatrix is an ad fight mainly, and you got to deal with the bombardment of ads that attack you from every direction as you and your allies are cornered before she joins the fight too. You even have to play a Frogger type game where you're supposed to dodge these guys stabbing you with a sword. But I kind of just stand there and tank them like a bad little raider. She summons massive meteorites that you're supposed to soak that nearly wipe a whole goddamn raid, but we persevere and stabilise. Then it's just about keeping calm and bringing her down too. She does drop my belt that I soft reserved, and as the Scarlet Crusade forces are now broken on the front, we continue our onslaught. But my belt is then rolled out quickly, and I'm like, maybe I can get some loot, and no, someone rolls 100 on this too. It's just the way it goes. The next boss we take on is a proto-drake called Solistraza. Sorry if I said that wrong. This boss is very unique and one of my favourites. He shoots fireballs into the range that we've got to dodge. Then he also dive bombs onto the raid too, while summoning little dragons that you gotta kill. He does pulsing AoE damage called Crimson Flare, and this boss HP just melts super fast. But it's just a fake HP bar, as she changes into a new form. Twice, by the way. On her last phase, we do lose a tank and a few DPS, but because of the sheer amount of players we have, we kind of overpower the dragon and bring it down. No good loot off this dragon for me though. With 3 bosses down, it was time for the 4th, the Beast Lord. Now range, stay on the roof for this fight. Yeah, wild players always come up with some cool strategies, and melee fight the Beast Lord on the ground. He also has a bear, Sardonic. Now we avoid practically all the mechanics up here. It's all about the tanks swapping and melee not standing in shit. Really easy fight, that can go sour. Still a pretty long fight however, with my damage being now pretty poor I must say, but we also take down Alexei, giving us 4 out of 8. That's half of the raid cleared. Can we keep it up? Our 5th boss is Mason the Echo. He's a pirate commanding them and bombarding the beach with cannons and calling for help. He has a unique mechanic where every 25% he becomes immune to damage and you just gotta shoot him from a cannon to break his bubble. The longer he's in that bubble, the more damage he's gonna deal when he comes out of it. We bring him to his last burn phase, losing a couple of people on the way because some people always die.
This needs to stop now.
Not mentioning any names, and we overpower Mason the Echo too. And now we've slain 5 bosses in the Enclave and we're ready to dive into the deeper bosses. I wish I said I got any loot, but I didn't. In fact, the raid then goes to shit. People in pugs only want to do 5 out of 8 for some reason, and it's because the difficulty definitely ramps up a little bit. Well, I wouldn't say the difficulty, but more of the coordination aspect, and some pugs just lack that, especially if you've got many numbers. As you can see here on this guy where people are told not to kick him because he casts AoE damage, naturally people kick him and wipe the raid. Not wanting to give up and still being angry at what happened, Dark Antijax stays in the raid and gives the council a try. It's a reanimated Dawn, Herod and Vicious from the Scarlet Monastery dungeons. We do one pull to see if we can manage and if we can do this fight. The answer to this is no. Nah, it ain't happening. We don't do hardly any damage to the bosses before a tank dies, and from there it's just a dominoes effect, as nobody kicks the boss, leading to a very quick wipe. And as I lay there dead, I think of how far we've actually came. With the raid then instantly disbanding and having hitting level 60, obtaining my epic steed and clearing 5 out of 8 of the Scarlet Enclave bosses, never mind the one I set out to do in the first place, I would say that's challenge complete. The only thing to do was to take the long journey home now, to where it all began 63 hours ago. Which sounds like a lot of time, but in MMORPG terms, it's not actually that bad. So in just a little under 3 days played, we basically managed to do everything you can do in SOD. Except get our best in slot gear of course, but I just wanted to show you all that ask if it's too late to try, or is it still alive? Very much is, so just jump in and have fun. As we speak back to the caretaker who tells us we achieved our task within the time frame, and now he can cure us and make us human once more if we want. But after everything Dark Antijax has learned, and how he loves throwing Alliance off the boat, he don't want that, so we did all that for nothing. Like and subscribe, okay, bye.